CPAP mask fit hacks for comfort. Boom, nailed it. I let the YouTube AI tell me what this video is gonna be about. Had a lot of suggestions. I actually like this one. Back to basics. What CPAP mask should you use for comfort, and what can you do to make those masks more comfortable? And I must confess, I slept like crap last night. My energy levels are low. In a totally related note, if anyone has any ideas how to pay for really expensive colleges, I would appreciate that in the comments section, because finding private scholarships is ridiculous. Now, most of my videos are kind of in the weeds on some of this. This is very much back to basics. I do want to say this one thing though. There are a ton of different mask types, different mask materials, different mask manufacturers. So you have full face masks that are the traditional cushion that goes over the nose and over the mouth. You have full face mask hybrids that go under the nose yet still cover the nose and cover the mouth. You have your nasal mask, you have your nasal pillow mask, you have your nasal cushion masks, tons of different masks. The one thing I noticed though is that no matter what mask you use, you're gonna think that that mask is terrible. You're gonna think that mask is uncomfortable. You're gonna think that mask doesn't work if you are on an incorrect pressure, if you have a severe mask or mouth leak, or if you're on the wrong mode of therapy. If any of those are a problem for you, you're gonna think your mask sucks, you're gonna buy a different mask, and you're gonna have the exact same experience with that mask. So if you feel like any of those could be a problem, please check out my services, axgsleepdiagnostics.com. Sign up for an Oscar PAP therapy analysis with me, and I will get to the root of your problem super quick. In general, one of the number one things I see with people is that they have a mask that does not fit their face appropriately. What we are looking for any nasal mask, we want it to fit the top part of the mask into the nasion, which is the low point of the bridge of your nose, and then it should fall comfortably below your septum. You should have plenty of space so it's not jamming up on it. If I were using a small, you want to have it up here. It's going to minimize the likelihood of leak. It's going to be more comfortable, and it's not going to be pushing up on my septum. So this is a traditional sort of nasal mask. This happens to be the N20, the Air Touch version. There's also a silicone version of this. So if you like this material being soft, ResMed has a whole line called the Air Touch. So they have the Air Touch N20. They have an F20 that looks just like this, but covers over the nose and over the mouth. And then they have this N30i that's also Air Touch. So this is like a memory foam material. They also have this in just a standard silicone. So if this is something that is more comfortable to you, super easy to get on, super easy to take off. Now you notice the other one, the hose was coming out of the front. Some people, that causes a great deal of discomfort. By the way, this is AI generated, but I'm actually not following the outline at all because... So this one for comfort has the attachment on the top of the head. I really like this style of mask. I personally don't use it because I use a device called VCOM, different video, but it makes it super loud and I don't like it just for that reason. So I tend to not use this mask anymore once I started using VCOM, but still a fantastic mask. And as you can see, there's nothing going into my nose. It's a nasal cradle. So if you're interested in this style of mask, this is the N30i. They also have, Respironics makes one called the Dreamwear under the nose cushion. And then Fisher & Paykel has one called the Evora. Fisher & Paykel also has one called the Solo. I'm actually not a big fan of that one unless you're using the Solo nasal pillow mask that actually goes into your nose. So if you want to use that type of mask, this is probably one of my favorites. I actually really like the Fisher & Paykel Brevita. This one happens to be the Fisher & Paykel Micro Nova, really small, really light. But you can see that it has prongs that go into your nose. So with a nasal pillow mask, as far as sizing it, you want to use something that these pillows are actually as large as possible while you're still able to insert them into your nose. What I mean by that is if they're too big and you have to like stuff them in, it's too big. If they're huge and they can fit in without you doing much other than what I just did, just like a slight wiggle, that's probably the right size for you. Now these are really basically easy to use, this style of mask, or I should say interface. So up into your nose, pull it over your head. Now, I actually use, this is my nightly one now. Now, When you first start using nasal pillow mask, you'll notice that you have a pretty good deal of chafing on the inside of your nares. If that's an issue for you, which it usually is for most people, I mean, look, you're moving around, I'm breathing, 8 hours of that, you're gonna get these micro movements. It just starts to hurt. So one of the best things to do is use a little bit of aloe vera gel on the inside of your nose. You can also use something like Lancino. It's gonna reduce the friction, make it much more comfortable. And then over time, I don't have to do that anymore. It's not like I have a callus in my nose, but it does, the skin gets a little tougher and you're able to manage longer throughout the night. All right, so now we have a full face mask. This is kind of like a traditional full face mask. This one happens to be the Hans Rudolph. I haven't shown this in a really long time. This one's actually too small for me. But you still want to fit it in the nasal of your nose. And then like for a full face mask, you want it to swing down and have about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch below your lip while your mouth is slightly open. So you're going to want to use a full face mask if you have a problem with like like if you've ever been to an ENT and they say your turbinates are super swollen, you have a deviated septum. Basically, if you aren't able to do that and breathe through your nose easily, you're probably going to want to use a full mask. Otherwise, the comfort level trying to breathe through something that just really doesn't flow well is going to be very difficult. So if you have that problem, chronic congestion of your sinuses, problem with breathing through your sinuses, use a full face mask. It's going to be much more comfortable for you. But you do need to fit it right. So Nasian, the low point of the bridge of your nose, it wants to swing down, cover, like I said, about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch. It should fall right here with your mouth slightly open. Now that's bypassed if you're using a hybrid version. So any of those full face masks, if it rests under your nose, and yes, it is still a full face mask, yeah, argue with me in the comment section if you want. If it fits under your nose and covers your nose holes and covers your mouth, it's a full face mask, just a hybrid style. So something like this. Now, one of the biggest things, especially with full face masks, is, well, actually all masks, but is over tightening. If you're over tightening the mask, that is no good with any mask. What you're gonna do is, if you tighten it so much, the silicone is gonna fold over on itself. This creates little gaps where air can escape. Plus it just hurts. You wake up with that triangular shape either over your nose or over your entire face. You also have mask straps that are digging in the entire time. The magic word is snug. Go with snug. I think the best thing to do is take your machine, turn it on the pressure that you're going to be using during the night, hold the mask to your face, let it be leaking around, push in slightly until it stops leaking, then pull in ever so slightly more, then take your straps, tighten or snug them up so that it holds the mask in that exact position. Now this goes with nasal mask or nasal pillow mask as well as full face mask. Same thing applies. Now let me go off on a tangent real quick. If you do that with a full face mask especially, and you find that the mask is leaking on the bottom, it's not because the mask is not tight enough. It's because your jaw is moving. So this one actually has this chin cradle. I have this here I'm using this one for a reason. Most masks do not have that. So if I am asleep, I'm going to be relaxed, obviously, and my jaw is going to want to open up, fall back. Something like this doesn't allow my jaw to fall back, and so the mask stays sealed. There's no need to over tighten it. If you're using a different style mask, one of the things I say to use is like a soft cervical collar because it prevents your jaw from falling back. If you have a dentist-made mandibular advancement device or oral appliance, those actually work really, really well. Also, chin straps work really well too, but I would say to a lesser degree. So this goes back to comfort though. If we're talking about how tight to have it, just snug. You go too tight on the bottom, you're gonna take your jaw, pull it back into your airway. It's gonna crowd your airway more. It's gonna make your sleep even worse. You're gonna blame the mask, you're gonna chuck it, buy a new one. You're gonna have the exact same problem. So a very frequent question I get when doing my analysis on AXG sleep diagnostic is like, what's the best mask? What is the best mask to use? There's no answer. It's whatever is comfortable for you. I personally don't care what mask you use, so long as it's not leaking, you don't have a true mask leak. But like I said, most leaking is out of the mouth, or if a full face mask is being used from a jaw drop leak. Most masks seal really well. That typically isn't the problem. So the best mask is probably one you already own. And then beyond that, it's just preferences. Do you want something small and light? If so, you're looking for a nasal pillow mask, such as the P30i. P10 kind of sucks. The headgear is like way too loose. But you can go P30i. You can use something like a Respironics Nuance Pro, which I think those are kind of crap, quite honestly. I would stick with the Fisher & Paykel line. They have the Micro Nova, that one's great. They have the Solo nasal pillow, that one's great. But you have plenty of options in that realm. If you're looking for the best nasal masks, in my opinion, I would go with the N20. I personally like the N20 Air Touch. I think that one's one of the best. You have the Eson 2, which is made by Fisher & Paykel. That one's pretty good. Then if you're looking for best full face masks, you have a lot there as well. So I would say if your face is wider and flatter, probably the Dreamwear full face mask is one of the better ones. If you're kind of a medium, I would go with the Evora full face mask. That one's pretty good. If your face is more narrow, I would definitely go with a ResMed product. So like the F30, that's one that attaches in the front. Now if you go F30i, it attaches on the top. But now that's a headgear that's much more difficult to snug up appropriately. So I prefer the F30 just for that reason alone. You can go for the F40. The F40 is actually much more flat. So if you're a shovel-faced individual, that would probably fit you really well. That's a leaker. That's a leaky mask for most people. So I still actually think that the F30 is one of the better options for that. You also have the Fisher & Paykel Vitera. That is more of a traditional full face mask. Has some pivoting features on it. Really good silicone that they use. But again, with all these masks, it doesn't matter what you use. Avoid over tightening. Think snug. If it shifts during the night, you're either burying your face on the pillow or your jaw is dropping. But using a nasal or nasal pillow mask, more likely than not, you're having a mouth leak. If you do in fact have a mouth leak, I think the best thing to do is tape, and there are some very inexpensive tape options. I personally tape at night. No, you're not gonna suffocate. No, you're not gonna swallow your own vomit. I don't know where that comes from. You're gonna be just fine. Anyway, this video is long enough. So if you wanna get any of these masks, please check out the sponsor of this video. That is cpapsupplies.com. You can use my discount code LankySpring, save 25% off. They have a ton of mask options. Pretty much everything I just talked about, I believe they have. You have free shipping on all orders, free RX services, meaning they'll help you get a prescription for any mask or accessory that you need. 30-day mask guarantee, a loyalty reward program, as well as a 30-day price guarantee. And then as an added bonus, they always undermine me with a better coupon code than the 25% off. So do check their website regularly. As I see right now, they have one for 30% off. And real quick, let's talk about cleaning of your mask. You can get the cushion, more life out of your cushion. If you use anything that is like a memory foam, don't clean it. You can like wipe it off with something like a damp cloth, but don't run it under water. Don't submerge it in water. If you're using something like a silicone mask, which most masks are made out of, you can use something easily like Dawn dish soap. They have mask wipes. I actually sell a product on Amazon called Mask Bright. Mask Bright's great. The sprayers are terrible, as you'll see in the reviews, but the product is great. Just get your own sprayer if that's a concern for you. And yes, I've tried about 5 different pump like atomizer manufacturers. They all equally suck. The last one, the one right now is actually the best, but it still fails at a high rate. So pretty soon they're gonna be sold without them. So get yourself a vintage sprayer while they last. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any problems or questions, please let me know in the comment section. Contact me at axgsleepdiagnostics.com. And in looking at the outline, I pretty much did not follow it really at all. So hopefully, thank you AI, I appreciate it. I'm gonna try using your thumbnail as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Clean your stinky mask with some Mask Bright, available at Amazon. And time for an extra thick thanks, buddy, to my top level supporters: Doug Toombs, Jason Georgiades, Patricia Espelong, Stuart Hetherington, Alan Liu, Edward Steiner, and I'd like to say thank you also to these people, as well as those other people. Up the ante, you get a shout out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Barely even on screen, but still appreciate the support.